Welcome to Instant Discussions, episode 5, video portion of the podcast. Well, for the podcast, you can listen to us play games and hear more before this part. My name's John.
I'm Steffan. I'm Tony.
Tony Montana.
Alright,
Alright, we are discussing 4 Rooms from 1995, right? I didn't do research.
that was part of the... Okay.
Oh.
I'm pretty... It's 90s. I know it's 90s. I don't know. No, it's 95. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's 95. Alright. Forgot I took my notes on here. Shall you lead us? This is your pick, Steffan. So lead us off.
Well, I think that this is fairly easy to break down into discussion format here. There's just each room, and then there's the small little side scenes. Generally, though, I think that they could have done a little bit better in the intro. I think they could have taken it a little.
Are you talking about
the old man?
The old man talking
yeah.
I thought it was all right. It was very simplistic. It kind of reminiscent of the beginning of any Tarantino film, especially the early ones. If you're looking at the diner scene in Pulp Fiction before the big title sequence, or the diner scene in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah,
it was kind of that. This is a general introduction of these characters, but this one was more saying, you're a bellhop, this is your job as a bellhop, and seemingly that it's his first night alone, or that speech could have been given to him on his first night there.
Yeah.
We don't know if this is his first night. It's kind of tough to tell, but it seems like it could play as if it's his first night there.
Well, even before that, first of all, I hated this movie. I thought it was horrible.
Oh, really?
Right during the credits, I was like, this music is stupid and this intro is horrible. There's nothing funny about it. Like, the whole scenes, I was like, oh, God.
Yes, I was about to say, it just, basically, the movie relies on whether or not you like Tim Roth's character.
Tim Roth's character reminded me if you had Hunter Thompson, who was gay, and had a baby with Jack Sparrow, who was gay. That's his character to me. And I was like, oh, God, his butt's moving around. And I was like, this isn't...
You were offended. He couldn't take the butt. It's an interesting character because Tim Roth is quite a good actor. And he's gotten better over the years, especially. I really like the TV show, whatever it's called, about lying. Something. Lie to me. That was the one. That was really. I've seen it. I've seen a couple episodes. He does really good.
Really good job.
But also, I think you see more of a range for him in Reservoir Dogs because he goes through more of an arc in there. But this one just seemed to be. He's kind of at the mercy of 4 different directors, so that's already a difficulty because you have to adjust the role so that each person can use him as they want to. Which then does make him this kind of cartoony character. He's not so grounded. Though I do think they still are able to build a good character arc with him.
Well, I thought he was consistent.
Yeah, he was consistent.
Within all the rules,
but it was just
directors.
It's kind of all over the place.
I just didn't like what it was that he was consistent about.
Right. Yeah, that's basically this film relies on. You either think that what he's doing is funny, or you don't, and there you go, hit or miss.
Yeah, though he's used as an introduction into the different worlds in a lot of these things. Mm-hmm. So you could still, if you still like the segments, that could still have you liking the show.
That's
for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Mostly the second one really relies a lot on him, but the other ones they can kind of play off their own things, and then you can use as a prop piece.
Yeah.
So,
say the first room.
First room.
Honeymoon
Which room?
Suite.
The honeymoon suite.
Yeah. This is the one with the four.
Coven of Witches.
There's a Coven of Witches.
Yes.
Since I can't remember the exact number, I think it's 5 or 6.
There's 5, and 1 was the daughter who's going to join.
Yeah. Well, later. But I think that this one kind of dragged a little.
Yeah, this is definitely the weakest one, and that's
so
I think what turns a lot of people off on this movie and can turn critics off on this movie is just it starts out with the weakest one, and you kind of I think you'd really I might want to put this one second, but I don't know. A few reasons why I'd put this one second is at the beginning of the third one, he hangs up the little cherries that he got from one of the witches in the first one. Mm-hmm. So it almost looks like it's supposed to be right after that. Or at least when the...
there is actually a order to these
in
the film. And I think it's the first one happens first, last one happens last.
They do
and then the other two are kind of...
I think they do happen in the order that we see as far as the finished product goes. Because before the last room, he's on the phone and he goes through what happened in that day. And he does it in that order, in the order that we've seen it. But that could have been added on later.
It's not, though. And I have a reason. There's actually
because of when New Year's happens.
No, actually,
because that was one thing I was thinking in part of it.
There's in the second room. What's his name? Siegfried. Siegfried makes picks up the phone from the phone call. That phone call's coming from the two kids.
Yeah,
it's the same conversation.
So these
I don't think it's the same conversation.
It is. No. He says this exact same line, unless it's coincidence. He says the exact same line.
I mean, he does repeat himself at the end of that of the second one, so we know that he can repeat his same lines. But I think that it is the same call because that's such a detail that they're going to put in there.
Do you guys have needles in your rooms?
I think
no, we don't have any needles in our room.
Yeah,
is that what he said?
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's they're supposed to. So I think they are kind of intertwined. He's going to leave, come back.
Yeah.
So that means that when he puts the cherries down at the beginning of the third one, that's the connection between those two.
It goes from first to third.
Yeah,
and then in the middle of third goes to second.
Yeah. First, because he's going back and forth to the kid's room throughout the night at different points. So that means, the first one starts, then the second and third are happening at the same time, and then the fourth one
ends his night.
Is the end. All right, that works for me. That kind of works. But still, that first one is weak, and
totally
a lot of bad 90s cheap CGI. They didn't spend a lot on the CGI for it.
And I would have been even all right with it, but they needed to go way more overboard.
Yeah,
with it being ridiculous.
Yeah, if it had gone more overboard, it had the full elements to show. These actually are witches. It's kind of you get like from Dusk Till Dawn or some other things in there, but it's they showed you okay, they're definitely witches because they're actually doing spitting fire and things are happening. But the result of that whole episode, of that whole scene, is just, he has sex with this other witch.
Yeah.
And there's like these fantastical elements in it.
Deanna came out, right?
Yeah, she came out, but it was just, there was nothing else to that.
There really wasn't a whole lot of substance other than...
No, there was no substance. The story was horrible. I think Madonna's a shitty actress. I don't know who told her was a good actress. I don't know, because she sucks.
I think the only thing it is good for is that he's told in the beginning the things that he shouldn't do, and don't have sex with them.
Yeah.
And so he's now broken that, but he's broken the rules now in the sense of they just want him for sex, and so he's broken that one. He's like, okay, he's still being a very nice bellhop.
Yeah,
he's being good to them, but that's it. So that's his first break. And I think that's the only good thing that you get out of this whole...
Yeah, it's just let's just take it for his character development.
Yeah, take it for that little piece of character development. And then he's still smiling, he's still standing tall, he's still happy until what happens in room
404.
As they say 404, I'm pretty sure 409.
But before that...
Because that's what they call.
Yeah.
But before they go into 409 or whatever... They throw in that stupid dance. Oh my god, I wanted to shoot myself. I was like, why do they have this stupid dance? There's nothing funny
it was really long.
At all.
It just dragged.
You know what this reminded me of? It reminded me of really, like, a porno. Because there's no real story. You could have thrown sex into each one at some point. And it's kind of, together. It was, oh god, it was horrible. Nah. Especially the first scene.
I think it's just that first one. That first one ruins it for the rest of them, and then you've got a sour mood for the whole rest of them.
Maybe that was it.
That's why we said last week, keep watching.
Yeah.
I can't watch it.
Get past that first episode.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is you kind of have to you have to put it out of your
right?
You have to put it out of your mind. Yeah, she's terrible.
It is terrible.
And she's a witch. Why'd she have a cross? She's like a vampire.
Because that's her character.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's what the Madonna character, and that's the problem. And it was also confusing because they were bringing back this star they were kind of describing her as Madonna.
Yeah,
it's like
I felt bad. I actually don't know the actress's name. But I really liked her. She was in Hot Shots.
Oh, her. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's way hot.
Yeah.
She was in my Spank Bank.
Felt bad that she's in it.
Yeah.
Felt bad.
I
thought she was funny in
legacy.
Hot Shots. I thought she was great in Hot Shots.
Let's go on to better episodes.
Okay.
All right.
So room 404.
Room 404.
404, which is actually 409.
Okay, something that brought me out of this right away was the fakeness of the gun. Guns are not shiny like plastic. So right away I was like, oh god, what is this horrible prop?
All right.
Are you? But really, you're in this for the realism of a gun?
It's that.
Come on.
So they were spitting fire in this terrible CGI in the first one, and now the gun's too shiny.
And B, who said he had a real gun? It might have. It's
Yeah.
probably a fake.
Nah, that's true.
Yeah,
It probably is legitimately a fake.
It seems to me that this is the game they're playing, and they play a lot, and it's not. There's no serious harm coming to anyone in that scene. It's just this is their role playing that they do.
But if you're gonna roleplay with a gun, you use a real gun.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Well, maybe you guys don't.
Because what if he gets crazy? He grabs the bellhop, grabs the gun and defends himself.
But you still put the safety on.
Yeah, but then he's going to notice the safety on. He turns the safety off, realizes there's no bullets in it, realizes, oh, he found a bullet in that other room, so he puts it in the gun and he shoots him. Like, there's a way that it can still come to harm, so using a fake gun. So maybe your astute eye was good at catching it as a fake gun.
And catching a great detail.
Because this is definitely a game.
detail.
This is a game they're playing. This not a serious thing. Although they want you to think it's serious at the beginning when he first goes in there, because he thinks it's serious. But from everything the girl's saying, that when he's talking, he's like, just play the rules and just go by the rules. Come on, just
There's a very small line in there if you catch it that she says, "We do this all the time. Just play along and no one gets hurt."
Yeah. So it's just this is what they do, and they're waiting for the other guy to come in. So, and it doesn't really matter who that other guy is.
Yeah.
Theodore.
Yeah. But it was the guy from the party. This scene starts off.
But I thought it was a great, interesting intro.
He gets the call from the party.
Yeah.
Which a pretty good comedy scene is just them.
I like that he gets he puts out his cigarette, puts his gum in the ice. That part I thought was funny.
Yeah. And they're
like, what the hell is that horrible bellhop?
He's not the greatest, but he's still kind of, as he's going up to the room to give him the ice, he's still in that pristine moment. Has he just had sex at that moment? Yeah, because he has.
Yeah.
So he's gotten back from having sex. He's happy, and but he's still wants to be a good bellhop. They call up saying, "Oh, it's room 404. No, we're on the 5th floor, so it must be 409," because they're stupid. So they're in room 509. So directly below them, 409.
Yeah.
The room that he goes into that he thinks is 404 because the number's missing. So for some reason he goes into that one.
For some reason
he
walks right.
So there you go. That probably is his first night then.
Yeah. So it's probably his first night. He doesn't know the rooms.
But he just walks right.
But this moment is what starts to break him. Because he's.
Oh well, yeah, that would break anybody.
Because he just wants to be good, but they are manipulating him. I like when he goes out to the window to call for help, and he sees the party room above. So the whole stacked room.
The guy pukes on him.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So I didn't understand that. Why would you stick your head out of the bathroom and scream help while looking up?
He knows that he can't get out this way because they're kind of guarding the door. He was trying to see if he can.
No, that's when he had the heart attack. Like he goes in that way. He's like, I'm going to help this guy. Oh wait, now I'm going to scream help, and now I'll go back.
I don't know. He's calling for help.
I imagine it's just because he's freaked out.
Yeah, he's not thinking rationally.
He had a gun pointed to his head, which he thought was real.
He thought was real.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was, he thought it was real, and he thinks that this is a real situation.
Yeah.
He's duped.
So we get through that. We've introduced the female character who we need later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he escapes from there after being vomited on by the party. Mm-hmm. So this, I think that what this could happen here, at the start of the next one, so let's start talking about room 309.
Well, hold on, were we past 404?
Well, all right, keep talking about.
Just one thing that I think
it. All right, it kind of because the concurrency of the two.
Yeah, just one thing that I know was supposed to be funny that wasn't funny was her cock talk. All her names for the penis
Yeah.
And then she kept going and going. And I was like, okay, we understand. She's talking about dick.
Yeah, that's the thing that it happens. You get that in a lot of comedies where not every joke's going to hit everyone, and there are definitely some people who are laughing at that. So it's a sad thing. I've sat through a lot of comedies recently where the audience is laughing, and I'm just saying no. But
I thought the situation was funny.
Yeah.
Not the names that she was saying.
Yeah.
I just thought that the situation was funny.
The situation was it's that uncomfortable thing of she's talking about his big penis, and he's like no, because she's describing it as if she's seen it, so that it's confirming. She's confirming to her husband that they have slept together, even though they haven't. She knows they haven't. I'm pretty sure with the game he knows they haven't, unless there actually is that she does cheat. But but either way, Ted the bellhop still doesn't know what's going on.
I thought that this whole scene, the whole 404, the second room, had great rising action.
I thought it was pretty strong. They're calling him Theodore,
he kept upping. They kept upping every time and kept making it more stressful, more stressful. Gun pointed to face immediately. They had the "Don't call me Theodore" speech. The heart attack and the homo kiss randomly.
Yes,
that happened.
Oh yeah, part of their game.
And then he can't find the medicine, and he's yelling out of a window. And gets thrown up on.
So this is why I want to say, the next scene, when you're kind of talking them happening at the same time, when he first gets up to room 309, the misbehaviors.
Yeah.
When he first gets to that room, so these three rooms are stacked on top of each other: the party room,
that's interesting.
this room, and that one. And I mean, the penthouse can be probably all over the place, so that's stacked on that.
It's probably the top floor.
Yeah, the honeymoon suite. Maybe that's on the 6th floor. I don't know. I can't remember what floor it's on. But either way, these could be stacked together. At least we know that these three are stacked together.
Yes.
But so the misbehaviors, when he first gets up to that room, he doesn't seem as flustered. He's the person he was at the beginning of 404.
Yeah, before that happened.
Yeah. So we can see that first interaction happens before that, and then later when he's answering the phone all frantic.
Yeah.
That's him after this scene because
and it's great
because
it's immediately after 404 that is when he goes to put them to bed.
Yep.
And he's just like, no, you're going to bed. And it's just like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, and his shirt's untucked. And
yeah. So he's gotten closer to that. So that's why I think it's the bear discussing for that. So that's his character development from that. We've seen him grow in 404, and that scene really worked. So this one plays throughout the whole night. And I guess so this one had to have been just right before the last one.
Yeah, the last one has to be the llast one.
Yeah. So the misbehaviors it's a long one in chronology on how much time it takes for it to go through, but it's about the same length as all the rest of them.
Yeah.
So this one's directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yes.
So now we get him there, and everyone's bringing in their actors that they have.
I thought Antonio Banderas did a good job.
Yeah, so bringing in Antonio Banderas. He was pretty great in this.
I like him in that scene.
Yeah. I thought the kids were really good.
And the kids were good too. Yeah.
So one thing, were they like have their own kids and they came together because
I think so.
Because one of them had an accent, one of them didn't. One looked more Asian, one looked more Mexican.
Oh,
I don't know. It could be.
And I was annoyed because he was a handsome man and she wasn't very attractive, so that bugged me. She was not attractive.
And people have their types.
The Asian woman.
That could be.
People do have their types.
Yeah. So it doesn't work for you, but it could work for Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
And this is also as Antonio Banderas is just starting out in his rise, so. He's not.
He did a really good job.
I thought he was really funny.
No, he was great. This is kind of the beginning.
This is my favorite part, actually.
Of the whole thing.
Yeah, Antonio Banderas.
He gets top billing.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's the first.
Really
he's the first actor listed in the title credits.
Okay.
So he gets top billing because of an uncredited actor, I think.
Yeah,
that would have gotten top billing.
That would have probably gotten top billing. Yeah.
So I'll talk about that next. But but I think one of the things, the reason that you get a good performance out of these kids in there. Usually, kids are tough to direct, but Robert Rodriguez, he did the Spy Kids series, and he's done some other children's movies where he's working with kids. This was afterwards, but I think still you see these glimpses into the directors even in their future going forward, because these these were 4 independent directors getting together and making this movie and kind of showcasing what independent directors can do.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be organized by Quentin Tarantino because it had the Band Apart logo at the beginning. He seemed to be top producer on this. So you get more of his elements in the wraparound scenes. So I think that's just speaks to how good of a director Robert Rodriguez is and what he can do.
Yeah.
Working with those kids. Because you get a lot of bad performances out of kids generally. Sometimes you get good ones, they say, because they're still pretending and they're easier to be in a world of make-believe.
Yeah, some kids just really get it.
Yeah, some kids really get it. But it can be tough because you're still, like, to give them the specific direction, they don't have as much of the life experience to kind of base off of, okay, this is what's happening now, this is the emotion. But these kids got it. And
I loved the relationship they had, too. It totally reminded me and my brother whenever my parents would go out, and me and my brother are home alone, and we're just messing with each other all night, kicking each other in the face, causing havoc.
So they're messing with you. At first, they're just messing with each other, and it's nothing. There's the smell in the room. They don't know what it is. They think it's each other's feet.
Yeah,
but it's
smelly feet motif.
It's innocent play with each other until she goes and finds the needle.
Yes.
Then they've already got a problem.
That's a big needle, too.
That's a huge needle.
That's a lot of heroin.
It's enough to kill a hooker.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So they finally start playing with that, being bad kids.
And what was up with the sucking on the toe?
The kid sucking on his own toe. That was.
Have you never? That happens.
Does it really?
Yeah. Some kids take to sucking on their toes.
I think it's like sucking on your thumb or something.
No, it's not like sucking on your thumb at all.
It's a more extreme thing of that, but I don't know.
Okay, that was really weird.
It's kind of weird.
I thought it was funny, but it was just really weird because I've never heard of that before.
Huh.
Well, it's
Well then.
Whatever. Yeah.
Might be because the parents like stop sucking your thumb. Stop sucking your thumb. So he's like, oh, okay.
I suck my toe. Suck my toe.
And he's also got some sort of oral fixation stuff because he's grabbing the cigarette as well as when his father dropped it. He didn't seem to mad too much.
I didn't put it together.
It's something there.
And I don't think you could get away with that today. A little kid smoking.
It depends on the parent because in a movie it's tough. In certain movies you can. It kind of depends. You get away with a lot of stuff in movies sometimes. There is some stuff that happens in the recent Wes Anderson movie. Blanking on the name of it. Moonrise Kingdom. There's some stuff they do that happens with kids in there that it's like it's a little tough to watch. You should watch it. It's an interesting one. But
I remember watching. They made a huge deal about Kick-Ass about them smoking the fake weed. Huge deal.
Yeah. They make a huge deal about it, but they made it in the movie. I think the thing with Four Rooms is all the people who would have been offended by that already tuned out at the witches. So they have to about it. You can get away with anything after that.
See, that's why.
Yeah, that's why they put it in there. It's like, all right, stop watching this.
But yeah, I did.
Whoever that poor director is.
I really did like that
poor director.
We won't name names.
Their relationship was awesome. The kids.
Yeah.
They're back and forth, and it's. I mean, that's like you're saying. It's a realistic portrayal of how kids would be stuck up in this hotel on New Year's wanting to do something.
Yeah. And then you bring in all the crazy elements into that afterwards, and it all just works and escalates really quickly to them finding the body, burning down the place, and the parents coming home. Yeah. It happens really quickly after that, because everything before that is just them trying to put them to bed, putting the stuff over their eyes. Yeah. And it's simple things that are happening. And then, but those last things happen so quickly against each other, ramps up, and makes them so they can rush out and be flustered.
And I like when they come home too, or when they come back.
Yeah.
And she's all dragging. She sells the bottle, just passed out. And he breaks in. He's like, "Oh, is everything okay?
Did they misbehave?
Yeah, did they misbehave? As if he knows what little shits they are.
Yeah. He knows what little shit. It's the kind of Simpsons thing when they're trying to find babysitters for Bart and Lisa.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, they can't find a single babysitter because of Bart, and that's the thing. Like everyone knows these two kids misbehave, and that's.
And what I really like, this is my favorite route. I think I said that. And what I really like too is he was at the beginning complaining about like some pedophiles and stuff, but he comes back. He has his needle. Yeah. It's like pouring on the TV, dead hooker. And you think he's going to get pissed, and you're like, oh, shoot, he's going to go off.
Because he understands the kids, and he understands that that's their doing.
That's why I really like that one, yeah.
And I think that adds to this thing, because you've got these three rooms we've seen so far where we've got witches, we've got these people who tie each other up and go through bring other people into their crazy gunplay and stuff. So we've got these crazy people in these other two rooms.
Yeah.
This one seems like, okay, it's just these two kids, but now we know, okay, it's these two crazy misbehaving kids that also happen to be in a room with the dead hooker that adds to it. But with the drinking and the smoking and the burning, being able to burn the place down, having those elements in place, it's because of those two kids. And so Antonio Banderas' reaction at the end, that solidifies
and by the way, Selma Hayek on the TV.
Oh,
was she?
I thought she was in there, and I was trying to look for her.
She was the dancer on the TV.
Okay. Just like in Dog.
They never ever really show her face though.
Yeah, she's in the credits. I saw
she's a face?
It was credited in there, but I didn't see who it was.
Don't you remember fighting the shit monster?
So I think that solidifies it that these are three rooms of crazy people that do these crazy things all the time, and he's tossed into this as if it's nothing, but this is something that happens all the time here. And
clearly this hotel is seen these times.
Yeah.
But actually, when about the phone call again, when I had noticed that I had heard the needles part in the second one, and I hadn't heard that before, and then so I listened for it and I watched for it in the third room, and when I heard it, I was sad because it doesn't work at all in the time frame.
Yeah, it really doesn't if you do,
because it's
so fast
right after he leaves. And right after they got off the phone with him, she goes, "Give me 3 numbers," and calls it immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, it doesn't work at all."
The girl doesn't work perfectly with that, and that could
Plot
be them not talking with each other perfectly. All the writers and directors working things out. Yeah.
A neat little thing still.
But it's that still kind of again looking at these directors' other films, Pulp Fiction type thing, where you're seeing all these different vignettes that are happening concurrently, and that's where this is trying to be, and trying to put those things in there, like, oh, that's the way because now he's wearing that shirt because of that. Yeah, so that one's kind of tough.
Why is he missing his name tag in the beginning of the second room?
Yep.
Because
they ripped it off.
Antonio Banderas took it.
Yep. Yeah. So
and then let alone he knows the name still. That was fun. Anyway, Siegfried, hello Ted.
Well, yeah, he's just gonna call anyone Ted. That's a random thing. I think that's just whoever's gonna walk in.
Coincidence.
So ramps up to the phone call, and now I think everything at this point, I think that phone call is a Tarantino scene only because Kathy Griffin was a bystander at the car accident in Pulp Fiction. So since she's playing the boss, I think that's kind of brought in there.
And she does a horrible job, by the way.
She's not the greatest actress.
I didn't like the scene.
Yeah.
I thought it went on long.
It went on kind of long.
Yeah. Marissa Tomei was kind of like, her dialogue could have been cut down a lot.
I think the main thing is...
I think there was a point there. I thought that was kind of funny.
This was his quitting scene.
Yes.
He was going to quit, and this would be the final scene. Because he said, I'm out. This is... I'm done with it. And they do the recap of everything that's happened. It takes a while. It's kind of interesting the way they do it. I like the style they go for, but it does take a little longer than that. But what he has to be told here, he needs reason to keep him in the hotel for the last room. Because he's gonna be leaving. He's calling to quit, and he's just gonna walk out.
It's like, I'm quitting, period, no matter what.
The phone from the penthouse is ringing, but he's leaving, so he's just gonna ignore it. You're never gonna get that last scene. Except that he gets talked into it, say, look, this is a huge client, we really need this, and a lot of money.
Just make them happy.
Yeah, make them happy. I don't care. And so he's like, all right, just this one last room, and then he's out. One last room, and he's out. And so that's the only reason for that scene is to keep him there, or else he wouldn't. Because after the fire, the dead hooker, and all that, he's gone. He can't.
No, I see the need for the scene. I just think it went on long.
It did.
And I didn't feel Marissa Tomei as a pothead. I've seen a lot of potheads.
Maybe she was on something else.
That's true, but I didn't like her too much. I love her.
I liked the writing.
Yeah,
for her.
Yeah,
I liked the writing.
Yeah,
I thought it was clever.
Some good lines in there.
It dragged for me.
I thought it was funny that she's
dragged,
like, when it comes to specificity, like what type of gun it is, she knows everything in the world, and she's like, wait, what's the name of the person you're looking for?
Exactly. So she's interested. She just wants to have a conversation. She's not looking for helping him out. She's she's having a fun conversation. So we get to the last room. The penthouse. Or the man from Hollywood.
Yes. And right as he walking up to it, 2 naked women run out of the room, and someone's screaming, "Get the hell out of here!"
So now I didn't notice until a few minutes into the long tracking shot that it was a single shot.
You didn't?
It took me a bit to notice, but as soon as I noticed it, I started getting really interested in it and staring at the screen to say, when's it going to cut? Because I want to make sure that it's...
This is the thing I didn't go back and do. How long was it?
I didn't check how long it was.
Dang it! I was
okay.
so positive you would have done it.
No, I didn't.
I'm so positive.
I was intrigued by it, but it was they had a few long tracking shots in this final
We'll have
scene.
to annotate, just to annotate a little bubble. And just put it in. I really,
write it in the comments. At least we'll have a comment.
Yeah, I'll be the single comment we've ever had.
Yeah. But I love that. That's, again, you're seeing these directors' choices and they're just having fun here. And this is Tarantino having fun. And at first it's starting out with a lot, it's on his face. It's on Tarantino's face for a long time because Tarantino loves himself.
Yeah.
So not only puts himself as the star of this last scene,
and he does a horrible job at it.
He's a terrible actor.
He's a horrible actor.
He's the worst. He's
really
usually
bad.
the worst part of any film he's in. Of any of his own films, he's the worst part of it. But he's playing a terrible Hollywood personality, so he's playing himself, so it kind of works in that sense. But as soon as I noticed it was on his face for a long time, that's when I was noticing, oh wait, they're just not cutting, and so the camera swerves as it goes around. So that takes a lot of choreography. It's not the crazy choreography you see in the fight scene in Old Boy, but in Old Boy it's just panning from one side to the other.
Yeah.
In this one,
This is a moving camera.
You're moving
This
all
camera
around
is-
the set.
Yeah.
So that means that your camera is set up in a way that you don't have dolly tracks all over it because you see the carpet underneath them. You're in some...
Yeah, it's a guy walking around
Whatever.
with,
It's either...
one of those, I can't remember what it's called.
Steadicam?
Steadicam, that's it.
Yeah. It's most likely a Steadicam. The other way it could be was a giant crane underneath it, but that would have been loud and they could add audio issues. But, yeah.
I think it was just a Steadicam. That would have been easiest.
Yeah. And then when it cuts off on the girl from
it goes
sitting on the couch and just an obvious cut. So they're embellishing that this is just, they don't do the slide cuts in any way. They just want you to know that's the end of this tracking shot. And then the other shots are pretty long too.
Although there was one moment that I thought, they could have cut there.
Maybe.
When they go over to Bruce Willis. Because it's a really, really...
It is.
Really, really sharp
It is.
movement.
They could have cut. I still think they probably didn't.
Yeah. I don't think they would have. I don't think they did, but...
Yeah. Because
they could have.
Another thing is, with Tarantino being bad, he flubs a couple lines in this. Just barely, but trips over a few lines. And I think that adds to, with this tracking shot, that was the best take they could get out of all of these, where every single thing goes right, and they're like, so what? He flubs a couple lines, we'll still use it. And those mistakes wouldn't have been in there if he had been cutting it up. So, but that just makes it more visually interesting when you're looking at it. And
yeah, and you get. I think you get the feeling of the first person too.
Yeah.
When you, I mean, that's the one thing I like his style, and I generally, but this one, I was like, hurry up, please, just hurry up.
It's
Can you just get to it?
A lot of build up to it.
And his other films, it works out great when he uses his style. But in this one, I didn't care about the characters. I'm like, who's this black dude? Like, I could give a shit less about him. Like, whatever. I don't know. Like, oh, God. I didn't care about the
That's what I think is interesting, though, is because you're feeling the exact same thing the bellboy is.
He just wants
I don't want to feel like the bellboy. I want to be
But you are the bellboy in this one. He wants to get out of there. He doesn't care about these people, and that's why he's the impartial person to be able to do this. So it finally, after they're drinking their Cristal and spilling it all over
They
the place.
introduce the characters finally, and then they present all the materials.
Yeah. So we've got the girl from Room 404 who's in there. We've got uncredited Bruce Willis.
Yes.
So he would have been the biggest name in the film.
Except he volunteered and didn't get paid, so SAG got mad at him.
Yeah. So.
Oh, really?
He was almost sued, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Because you have to get paid your minimum for SAG at least.
Douchebag.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well.
so they set it all up.
Not that I'm trying to join it or anything.
Somebody's holding their tongue.
So they set it to the bet, and they say they were watching Alfred Hitchcock Presents on TV, and they saw The Man from Rio, and they're going to replicate this scene from The Man from Rio. First of all, I'm going to say I went to look up that because Alfred Hitchcock Presents is on Instant Watch.
Oh.
But I couldn't find this episode on Instant Watch. However, I Googled it. I did find it on YouTube as Man from the South. Not called Man from Rio. It's based there's a French movie called Man from Rio, which has nothing to do with this.
Interesting.
Has nothing to do with this plot, but it's called Man from the South
Maybe-
with Peter Lorre and Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
So exactly as they describe, called Man from the South.
That's
So it's interesting that Tarantino, in his infinite knowledge of movies, has now in his head, I think he knew it in his head, didn't want to look it up, and remembered the movie The Man from Rio, the French movie, got the title from that, and was thinking of Man from the South.
There's no Wikipedia.
And is now, so I think he's too sure of himself to look it up and to confirm it, because he's like, I know all the movies.
Yeah.
Because you could say that,
that's
it's
funny.
the character who gets it wrong, but no, this is something he's gotten wrong because they just watched it.
Yeah,
and how else could they get that?
They both had seen it. Yeah.
It is an interesting thing to watch. It does kind of drag the original one, but it's only 25 minutes. It's on YouTube. It's worth checking out. Man from the South, Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Check it out. But this one has a different ending than the other one.
Yes, it does.
But they're counting out the money for him, and he's excited. $1,000. He's been making some pretty good tips already.
Yeah, he
but
made
to
an
do some
awesome night.
But he's gone through some crazy shit.
But in 1995,
$1,550 by the end of the night.
Yeah,
that's a lot of cash. For
lot.
just
but
one
he's
night.
so far only made $550.
No, yeah, but I'm saying
So-
you're saying once he counts out the money.
Or $650.
Yeah.
Well,
Counting the 100.
if it's that 100, if he walks away, it's $650.
Guaranteed.
He's like, whatever. I don't care about these people. So since he doesn't care about it, he's quitting anyway. So what if
Would you have done it? I would have done it.
Especially with everything that's
back
led up
then?
to it's tough for me to decide if I'm going to do it for $1,000 at that point, because they could turn around and you can get some legal implications with that. But if you've gone through everything that he's gone through in this night, you're at a different state of mind. And at the state of mind that he's at, and the reason why all of those rooms have to build up to this room, it then works so that he's at a point where he can just take the money and walk away, doesn't care about anyone else.
Yeah.
And so he's able to just chop it. So much so, the bet with the lighter to see if it goes off doesn't even let him get a good one in first and then go from a
Not
a series
like
on
it-
that.
Yeah.
Like you could, because I would think in the bet you're like, all right, the first one didn't work. That doesn't count because it's a series. You're trying to get a series of 10. Try to get the first one good and then go on 10 after that. Maybe, but no, he doesn't care. Doesn't go instantly chop. Walks
He's
out.
cocked. He's ready. He's just cocked. And I know he wants to do it. He's done with
he's
this.
ready
night.
to do it.
Fuck these guys.
And that's an interesting thing watching the Hugh Laurie one too, because he's got this kind of look on his face as like every time he goes to the light, he's like, and then it goes successfully. He's like, oh.
Oh yeah.
It's some good part of that. But this, so the camera then follows him walking out with the money, and he's done. Credits roll. All of the action's still happening as they're freaking out with the finger as the credits are rolling.
And I love that, and then they go to get the finger and everywhere it trips. The ice in the fingers is missing. Oh,
so it's built up into that climax. So.
And you know what? I was thinking about it. It for me, if it had been better beforehand, and if they had cut that last scene down, that would have been just awesome for me.
Yeah.
But because it had dragged so long, I was like, let's go and just get through it.
Yeah. So you're waiting for that. You would have probably allowed them to stretch a little more if you'd been more invested in, if you hadn't been burned earlier.
Yeah.
Because that phone call took so long. And because you sitting through the
there are certain things
that
in the
phone call
movie
dragged,
which-
so then it made it drag. If it had gone from the high-paced action of the misbehaviors, and then he had gone quicker into that last room, and then allowing you to breathe in there when he's trying to get out of there, and they're talking, and the bellboy's just waiting there. He's like, "All right, can we go? Okay, whatever you guys want, bringing up you guys' stuff." But he's kind of intrigued when he starts that scene too, because he's brought up all of these pieces, and he's like, "I don't know what you guys are doing with this."
Yeah, what the
and
heck
after everything that's happened with me, let's see where this goes.
See what this is.
What are you guys doing here? But he doesn't want to see it because he's like, "Here's your stuff. I'm gonna go. Bye." You're like, "No, you're a part of this too." He's giving their stuff because he doesn't care. He's delivering that last one, making them happy and leaving. But it's even better when he gets the money.
And it might even be that as his character, he's a little starstruck too, because he's meeting this guy. that directed this film.
Yeah. So he recognized
Like character-wise.
He could be, but I think he doesn't care at that point.
Probably.
I think he doesn't care, but he doesn't hesitate after he gives that minute speech with all the money. He says, "Okay." Doesn't second think it at all. Yeah, because he doesn't care at that point.
I was wondering too how many takes they did when Tarantino shoved that donut in his mouth. How many donuts he ate? Because he just shoves it in.
Yeah,
That's mine.
When you have
as
to,
soon as
when
it
you
cut
have
away
to
from
eat,
him, he probably spit it out.
Oh yeah. Well,
they generally will do that. So they've got a lot of things on the sides here as they're spitting this out. Over
doing
here.
something like that, and when you're it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible to have to do something like that when you're filming.
Yeah.
Like I always felt so bad. I always wondered how Jason Alexander did it with Seinfeld, because in every single scene he's eating. He's just eating. Whether it's a jar of peanut, it's horrible. I'm like, how does he do it?
He probably just doesn't eat outside.
Maybe
of
he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's just eating
all that
Dave's
weight
probably
is
got it worked
from
yeah,
the show.
just from the show. Oh, Jason Alexander.
So I think it's a flawed movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that happens when you've got multiple directors putting their input into.
Yeah,
the
ultimately,
same thing.
you're not gonna get like everything's amazing.
Yeah,
you know?
but overall, I think it's a good show as kind of a study of character development for a lead character.
A good
'Cause
show
you-
of it.
It's a good show of at least a textbook example of the elements that you'd need to have him get to the point where you need to have him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cartoonish way of showing it, but in the way that you'd say like a blatant example, so that nothing's subtle in any of that. Where you're like, this is where we set up. These are the rules for the bellhop, and he's all fine. Then he breaks it because of this. Then he breaks this because of that. And
I'll go with
goes.
that.
So I think that's one thing you can get
I'll say
out of this.
it was the reasoning and stuff was dumb, but it made sense.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was a cartoonish way of
Yeah.
doing it,
Okay.
but it definitely made sense. And there are a lot of films out there that don't have character development.
Yeah, that
and
bugs
that
me too.
really. I get so mad in watching a lot of these movies. The Master was a recent one, but like you're looking at them and you're like, so they start off this way. Nothing that much happens to them, and they end the same way they started. That's fun. I've just watched this whole movie and nothing's happened. Good.
Was
good
that
for
the
you
one with
guys.
the Seymour Hoffman?
Yeah,
Is that
spoiler
one?
alert that nothing happens in The Master.
Oh my god, that's a horrible movie. They had a whole scene that was like walking away for 45 seconds down a hall. They're just walking.
He does have sex with sand.
And they're like,
Yeah.
are they going to stop walking down this hallway?
All right, now there were some interestingly done things in there, but overall that movie was it was a character study with no character development.
And they're walking back and forth to the walls.
So this is one way where, as that film is it's more well crafted and more artistic. The Master is. It's well done filmmaking, but the character development and the story is nothing. So this is where Four Rooms, at least you've got stuff happening and a character changes.
Okay.
That's at least what it's got going for it. So it doesn't have, because you don't have
it
one
could
artist
have been
vision.
good. I think if Quentin Tarantino did the whole thing,
if he had done
it
the
would
whole
have been
thing,
awesome.
Yeah. Or like he and Rodriguez team up like they did
yeah.
with some other movies with Sin City. From Dusk Till Dawn is even like a co-directed one that they just gave the.
Yeah, that would have been cool with just them two.
Yeah, I
But
think
added
they
those
worked as a
other
good team,
two.
but those other two kind of
Ruined it.
hurt it. And then I think Tarantino probably put in that phone call why it was so long. He was kind of explaining what the other directors did because he didn't trust them.
Really?
Maybe that's what that's a speculation. I'm thinking he could have.
I think it would have been funny if they did like where you see him like on the phone and then this goes like 5 minutes later and he's just still on the phone like just listening like
that would have been better.
Yeah, that would have been really funny.
Yeah.
Where he's just sitting there like listening to his boss and he's just like giving her reasons and he's like fine whatever I'll do it okay.
Oh my god. She did such a horrible job. Oh my god. Oh jeez.
All right. Any other things we didn't bring up in here?
I
Want to bring up?
I didn't like that speech either.
That's pretty
See
much
if I
it.
forget anything.
And that stupid song was in my head too. I was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, "Go to sleep."
It's kind of the Pink Panther intro.
Yeah.
The Pink Panther movies when they have the little cartoon.
It's
panther
catchy.
going through
It was annoyingly catchy.
Yeah, but it kind of made it was at the beginning of it. I didn't like it as much, but it worked because you've hearing it again in the end. Because at the beginning you're saying, "All right, this is a fun, playful movie." Crazy stuff happens to him, and right as the height of chopping off the thumb and the finger, and he's gone off the deep end on this. and then you hear that music again of this cartoony happy stuff. The juxtaposition of that kind of works.
That was fun, yeah.
So.
I liked that. And then leading in, that music continues on as they're
as all the
racing out to the elevator.
Is happening.
Yeah.
You know, thinking back, that could have totally been a porno. You could have thrown sex in there the whole time.
You mentioned that. Yeah.
But it would have worked.
But it wasn't.
No, I know it wasn't.
Kind of a lot of movies you could do that with.
No. Because you have the witches. That's a scene right there. You have the husband and wife. That's it. And then the role playing. And then the naked people leave, and the chick's there.
And then the kids.
Well, I didn't want to go there, but 2013.
You sure you don't want to go there?
All right. Let's think of happier things. And Tony, what is your after you hating this movie?
After me hating
what
this
are you
movie,
going to make us watch now?
Well, okay, so I haven't seen this movie.
Oh.
It's called Safety Not Guaranteed.
I have seen this movie.
You have this. It got 92% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm intrigued that you guys haven't seen this. So
it came out the beginning of last year. What I found was interesting: 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Budget was $750,000.
Yes,
very cheaply made. And the three people in here that I thought was interesting: Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec.
Aubrey Plaza,
I love her characters in all her movies. Mark Duplass from The League. I love his character. And then, was it Jake Johnson, the guy from New Girl?
My cousin.
That's your cousin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I've never met him myself. My mom told me that he was my cousin a while back when he was on New Girl when he got on that. So it's like, that's very. So I have a tie to the movie in some way. But I did see this movie, and I actually rented it from Netflix on disc. And then, after I watched it, it then popped up on Instant Watch this last week, and I was almost going to suggest this as one of my picks, but
I don't know who these people are.
Yeah,
you don't.
This is why the movie. This is why the movie cost $750,000 to make because no one's getting paid $1 million for this movie.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, so
maybe now they would.
Now
but at that point,
this kind of elevates them a lot. I mean, Aubrey Plaza was probably the highest paid actress person in this movie. Just thinking of what they've done before.
And just a real quick,
but we'll talk about this more next week because
And if somebody puts in a joke classified ad for they need somebody to accompany them in time travel.
Yeah, that's the basis.
That's the basis. And with these characters and
the line at the end of the ad,
sci-fi black comedy. And I love those. I love it. I can't wait to see it.
I like to call them dark comedies, just because to kind of separate them. I'm just seriously because there's a new movie I just saw.
Medea is in it though. That's why I said the black comedy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I just saw there's a trailer for a new movie that's Meet the Parents, but it's Tyler Perry produced.
Oh,
but
God.
It's exactly Meet the Parents.
When I think black comedy, I think like Pootie Tang or Undercover Brother.
Yeah.
Those were good movies.
Undercover Brother was awesome. I have it on DVD.
I was so surprised that was such a good movie.
Sip it down.
All right. Well, once Undercover Brother gets on Instant Watch, then we'll talk about that.
Oh yes.
Pootie Tang too.
Pootie Tang's on.
It is?
Is it?
Yeah.
That was a funny movie. I was surprised.
That may come. We'll have to get till it gets back on.
I watched it again simply because I saw it and they're like, no way! And I watched it.
All right. So,
anyway.
we will discuss that later. So, next week, Safety Not Guaranteed. Watch it on Instant Watch. And remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the iTunes, rate and review us.